'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deem'd, not by our feeling, but by others' seeing. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood, or on my frailties? Why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts my deeds must not be shown. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign.
Okay, Joe.
Yes.
It really... Do it again, because I think you were just starting to warm up. The
Okay.
last 6 lines, I think, really came alive.
Okay.
But I'm going to listen to it, not following along the page. I want you to make it clear to me, which means I think you still need to employ more dramatic suspensions. Quick ones. You know, they don't have to be huge events. They can just be enough to help you tell the story. Okay.
Okay. 'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach.
Okay, that was good. That was really good. I needed to hear esteemed.
Okay.
And that's why getting enough air is really important. And why these dramatic suspensions help is because they allow you to have enough breath to be able to say esteemed. So that we can understand, right? Esteemed. Okay, that was good.
'Tis better to be vile than
No.
vile.
You said it's better to be vile this last time.
Uh-huh.
Much better.
Okay. Yeah, I've been going back and forth between that. I think the B needs to be heard.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. 'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach.
Okay, that was good, Joe. But back off the vile, the second vile. Vile, then vile esteemed.
Okay.
I think esteemed needs, that the second vile doesn't need to factor in so much in the thought.
Okay. 'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach.
Right there, you're rushing. When not to be receives reproach of being. Don't rush.
'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deem'd, not by our feeling, but by others' seeing.
Not by our feeling. I think our is important there.
Our and others.
Counterpointed with others, right?
Yep. Yes.
Good. Take it again from the top. That's really good.
'Tis better to be... 'Tis better to be vile than vile esteemed. When not to be, receives reproach of being. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed, not by our feeling, but by others' seeing.
Good.
For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties?
My.
Or on my frailties? Why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good?
I think you need to drop there after frailer spies, which in their wills count, because I think it was just going on a little bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make it clearer also. Take it on, take the second quatrain again.
Okay.
I liked what you did with that, by the way. Go ahead.
Should remember that.
This first line.
For why should others? Is that what
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I think someone was just trying to get in. Can you guys make sure the door is unlocked so that anybody that comes? For why should others, false adulterate eyes,
That
give...
was even better the first time. But why should others false adulterate eyes?
For why should others, false adulterate eyes, give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties? Why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown.
By their rank thoughts, my deeds. Take it from no, I am that I am.
Okay. No, I am that I am. And they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign. I don't like the...
Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign. Unless this general evil they maintain isn't true, all men are bad, and in their badness reign. You know what I mean, Joe?
No, what did you mean by isn't true?
It's a really condensed version of unless this general evil they maintain is true, meaning the general evil,
Yep.
all men are bad, and in their badness reign.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, without that, unless this general evil they maintain, unless has a different meaning. Do we have the onions?
We certainly do.
Oh, onions.
What would we do without?
We would cry without them.
We're looking for unless? No. Yes. If it be not. If there be not.
Yeah.
Except, but.
What is it?
Except, but.
Okay. Except, but?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all it has.
Okay. So, it means, in this sense, accept this general evil they maintain. All men are bad, and in their badness reign. That's the sense.
Yeah, well, it seems like he's saying, unless, well, because he's saying that he's not bad and that his pleasure was not bad. However, if this maxim that they have that everybody is bad,
yeah,
and in their badness reign, then if that were true, then you're just gonna, whatever I do is gonna be bad.
Well, I think what the key is esteemed in the first line. Tis better to be vile. Tis better to be vile than everyone to
Think
you're esteem that you're vile. But there also is a meaning there that kind of they admire. There's an admiration in this version of esteemed. And vile esteemed. When not to be vile, right, receives reproach of being, gets you the same thing as them, as you actually being vile. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. Well, why should others fall to adulterate eyes? Yeah. So, what was the point I was making? Esteemed and unless are really important. So do it again. Do it again, Joe. Think of it this way. If you rush, we don't have time. You get ahead of the vision, the imagery. And it doesn't have to be just, I don't mean like paintings of nature and it, but it's the mental imagery. The imagery of the mind, even if it's an intellectual adventure that you're going through here, you cannot rush it. It is better to be vile than vile esteemed. When not to be receives reproach of being. So really, just take your time. Take your time so that we can get accustomed to this really condensed language. It's condensed, which means, it's got a lot of energy flux density. Some of these sonnets. Okay, here we go.
"'Tis better to be vile than vile esteemed, when not to be receives reproach of being. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their will think bad, count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign.
Now this time, Joe, you're very malleable, and that's why I like playing with you. I think we should try now to let us hear, without rushing, without fearing, without, just be courageous, and let us hear the rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay. All right. 'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost, which is so deem'd, not by our feeling, but by others seeing.
Very good. Very good. Now, if you had done but by others seeing, but by others seeing. So, it was really good, but others seeing, I think is rushing, but by others seeing, because you're counterpointing it to the rhyme, the word that it rhymes to, right?
Yep.
It was very good, Joe. Try it again. Try it again.
Okay.
So it's this bounded, this, what is it? Infinite but bounded quality.
Yep.
Did I say it right?
I always get it mixed up. Bounded but free? I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking of Einstein's.
Yeah, there's the Einstein and there's Beethoven.
Infinite but bounded. And what binds it is the rhyming word. So that's where your really your only task is to make it clear and let me hear this rhyme.
Okay.
And that means that there's no metronome. You'll catch, just go ahead, try it.
Okay.
Sorry.
'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost, which is so deem'd, not by our feeling, but by others seeing. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown.
Okay, but see, that's a big statement there.
Yep.
And so it's got to be a resolution. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown, must not be shown. They have no right to judge, right?
Yes.
They have no right to paint me with their paintbrush, unless this general evil they maintain. So that what it does is now parenthesizes, or it gives even more of a power to where the couplet is now, where you find yourself with the couplet after that crescendo. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. And it's all monosyllabic.
Yeah.
Unless this general evil... Okay, so, Joe, go back. That doesn't... So, play with the rhythms now. It is better to be vile than vile esteemed. When not to be, receives reproach of being. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed, not by our feeling, but by others seeing. For why should others, false, adulterate eyes, give salutation to my sport? So play with the rhythms, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Think faster. Think faster and... But don't let that influence how fast you talk.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
"'Tis better to be vile than vile esteemed, when not to be receives reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed, not by our feeling, but by others seeing. For why should others, false adulterate eyes, give salutation to my sportive blood, or on my frailties? Why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad?
Why are frailer spies, which in their... You're still talking about these spies, right? Which in their wills... Keep it going. You've been giving me a little hesitation after spies, and I think you have to give me a sense of continuing.
Okay.
The thought hasn't come to an end yet.
Yep.
Okay, that was going well. For why should others? Now, the other thing that has to be employed here are bigger intervallic leads.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger shifts in register. Take it again from give salutation. No, I'm sorry. For why should others?
For why should others, false adulterate eyes, give salutation to my sportive blood, or on my frailties? Why are frailer spies, which in their wills... Did you say something? No.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry.
I did. Okay. Sorry if I threw you off there.
It's okay.
The phone just kind of slipped out of my lap.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Try it more conversational, Joe. See if you can make it as immediate to you, for you. Put somebody there that needs to hear this.
Okay. For why should others, false adulterate eyes, give salutation to my sportive blood, or on my frailties? Why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign.
Much better. I liked what you did with unless. To give it the emphasis that you did, I think, makes it clear. Even though, because a modern audience will hear something different than the unless that we hear these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll know, even if they don't get it specifically, they'll get the general sense. The correct general sense, let's say. Okay, so Joe, now, do it again, because there's still a quality of detachment that all of you have with these sonnets. Believe me, I'm working on it myself, you guys. It's got to be more personal. It's got to be invested deeply. Not that you overact or overdo it, but it's got to be deeply, deeply felt. You're trying to take away any kind of distance between you and this language and these complex thoughts and your understanding of them. So, but you mustn't forget that it's a dialogue. You're talking to somebody. Even if it's to yourself. That other self that's trying to understand what this self is saying. That there is an audience. You have to make it clear. And part of that is having a strong, strong point of view. A strong, strong intention. So let's say you got a hold of one of these jerk-offs. This is just on the most obvious level. You got a hold of one of these jerk-offs, and you were able to sit them down and say, this is better to be vile than vile esteem'd. When not to be receives reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. I mean, I'm just letting this guy have it, or this person have it, by pointing out their hypocrisy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very basic thing, but it really now forces me to be at one with this text, so that there's no distance between me and this guy. You know, it's a real intimate dialogue. Try it again, Joe.
Okay. 'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being.
Good.
And the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign. I had screwed up the couplet.
That was really good, Joe. It was really, really really good, right, folks?
Mm-hmm.
Were they listening? Are they following along with the text?
Nope.
We don't have
We really do have but a dash of a chance. We really
Just in front of
only
the
have
laptop
a
there.
dash of a chance.
Oh, on the laptop.
Unless they have that material in front of them. My. Okay. You have it in front of you?
Yes.
Then we have a chance of a dash of a chance. Okay. Now, Joe,
Yes.
what did you feel was the difference?
Well, it felt much more. I didn't have to think about what I was doing.
Yes. But you were on the thought completely, on the purity of the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so it was immediate, and there was no distance, there was no sign of recitation. It was almost perfect, except for two things I would like for you to consider,
Mm-hmm.
and that is, know I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up the little breath after that.
Mm.
And then, so level is, because it has, again, it has that different meaning than it does now, right?
Yes.
So if you point it up a little bit, especially since it's a rhyming word anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, no, I am that I am, and they that level, it's a feminine ending.
Yep.
And they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. And the other thing was, let, in the couplet, unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign. So in,
Yes.
really now, is what informs when how you do the rest of the resolution, the caesura here. What? All men are bad, and in their badness reign. So I just thought it needs a little bit better ending.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't quite as satisfying as it could be.
Yeah.
It was really just those two little things. Otherwise, I thought it was very, very good. It was very clear to me what you were saying. And what kind of person you were seeing. I saw the other person. I mean, you were really letting this person have it. But do you see what I'm getting at with those two notes that I gave you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
They make sense.
So, now, you were starting to do it at one point, and then you didn't go, you dropped it. But I think a sense of humor. See if you can do it with a sense of wit, let's say. Sense of humor is too broad a term. But it's a very witty way of saying to someone, hey, come here. You know, let me tell you what I've heard about you. You've been saying shit about me. Shit that, in the context that you're putting it makes me look really bad. And I have to say, coming from you, you know, who is such an asshole, such a jerk off, and really everybody seems to esteem you, especially because you are such a king-sized jerk off. You're a real expert son of a bitch. But how dare you do that to me? When, so if you can dress them down with a little wit, because Shakespeare does it better than we could ever paraphrase, right? Just a little wittier. And what helped was, what will help is to think faster.
Okay.
So that the language never gets the best of you. The language becomes the rapier. And because you're an expert rapierist, there is such a word, you can cut somebody up pretty bad with your rapier. You're that good, without killing them, right? Okay, here we go.
"'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being. And the
Don't be cautious. Start again.
Okay.
Start again. You're being too cautious.
Uh-huh.
You know this. Have fun with it.
Okay.
Have fun with it.
"'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem."
No, Joe, we already chose. It's better to be vile.
Okay. "'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deem'd, not by our feeling, but by others' seeing. For why should others, false adulterate eyes, give salutation to my sportive blood?"
Okay, hold on, Joe.
Yep.
Now, you don't want the person that you're talking to say something like, "Are you on drugs?" So make it a real conversation, as if this person really, that you're not concerned about whether he understands each word or each. You're really interested in shaping the thoughts so that you can make your point the most effective way without, because this whole thing is don't come at him with a frontal attack, right? Slice him up expertly. You can take off a button with your rapier. You can take off one sleeve with your rapier. You can cut a lock of hair from your rapier. Right?
Okay.
Okay.
"'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deem'd, not by our feeling, but by others' seeing. For why should others, false adulterate eyes, give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good. No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. Unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign.
Much better. Much, much better. Now, I still think she's saying, she's being very specific. Why should others' false, adulterate eyes? Adultery is one thing, which we all know, having sex while you're married to somebody else. False, adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood. Now, what does he mean by sportive blood?
Well, Onions says that sportive is like amusement, but it has like a sexual connotation, wantonness.
Yeah. So
I think the false adulterate eyes is, it's not that those people have committed the act of adultery, but want to, maybe, or have thought about it, or I don't know.
but why should others' false, adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? Salutation. For on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad, what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level, and my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves, I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts, my deeds must not be shown. Yeah, so it really does seem to be just a long dressing down of a particular way of thinking or a particular person. I think you still need to just bite the words, take more breath, more, and that's why thinking faster really sometimes gooses up the intention. Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd. When not to be receives reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed, not by our feeling, but by others seeing. But why should others false adulterate? So if you could find as many ways to keep it conversational and more personal, as you've been doing this last couple of times through, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, find the wit, because it's the way he's using language that is so impressive not saying, "You stupid son of a bitch, how dare you say this about me when you've been doing blah, blah, blah," right? That kind of. So that's what I mean by don't let the text be bigger than you. Get to the size of the text, which means you've got to have a certain sophistication, a certain quality of intellect, which are all, of course, there for you. But just expand it, and let it grow inside of you, so that this language no longer is something that, I mean, yes, every time you pick up a new text of Shakespeare, there might be something that's going to throw you, and you have to check out, and you have to work it. That's why we study the iambic pentameter of each particular piece of text, if it's in verse. But, so play around with it and see just how personal and yet universal this text, this sonnet can be. Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd. But not to be receives reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. Use the words, right? See if you can stay in the complexity of the thought. Live in it. Anyway, it's really coming along well, Joe. You want to try one more time? And I've lost all sense of time. It's 3:19. How long have we been working on this? An hour?
Not quite. Almost. Let me try once. Well.
Yes, go ahead.
Just try.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Relax your body. Stay in your first register.
Okay.
Unless you have to leave it.
"'Tis better to be vile." Shit. Damn word. "'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being, and the just pleasure lost, which is so deemed not by our feeling, but by others seeing. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts my deeds must not be shown, unless this general evil they maintain, all men are bad, and in their badness reign. It's a damn couplet.
Yes, the couplet is seeming to throw you.
Yeah.
But also, Joe, let's look at this, that we're not taking advantage of. No, I am that I am. And they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts my deeds must not be shown, unless this general evil they maintain. All men are bad, and in their badness reign. That third quatrain, I think, is the big shift.
Yeah.
So, if you hide to this person that you're talking to the fact that you're specifically referring to that person, so that you seem to be talking in general terms, but it's making them very uncomfortable because it fits them specifically. Then you can be more witty. You can be more light-hearted at the beginning so that the turn has more of a contrast. No. So that at one point you just turn to them and say, no, motherfucker, I'm talking about you. What do you think? Want to try that? Let's do it.
All right. "'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being. And the just..."
Go back. Joe,
Yeah.
think of yourself. I'm sorry. Think of yourself as not giving any indication at all that you're talking to someone specific.
Okay.
That you're just taking part in a conversation. And so now, in this conversation that you're having with this person, you're hiding the fact that you're talking about them. So you're amusing yourself. It's how wittily you amuse yourself with him, right? With this person, until the turn when you make it very personal and very specific that you have been talking about them. Try it one more time. Think faster. You know the thoughts. You know where the resolutions are. You know everything. You've done all the homework. Now, make it a real conversation. Fool us into thinking that this couldn't possibly be Shakespeare and iambic pentameter and, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go.
"'Tis better to be vile than vile esteem'd, when not to be receives reproach of being. And the just pleasure lost, which is so deem'd, not by our feeling, but by others' seeing. For why should others' false adulterate eyes give salutation to my sportive blood? Or on my frailties, why are frailer spies, which in their wills count bad what I think good? No, I am that I am, and they that level at my abuses reckon up their own. I may be straight, though they themselves be bevel. By their rank thoughts my deeds must not be shown, unless this general evil they maintain. All men are bad, and in their badness reign."
Nice. Very nice. It goes goes by so quickly, doesn't it? It's almost like you've shifted into something else that's beyond. You've completely lost yourself in the task at hand. But it didn't have the feeling of a task. It had the feeling of freedom.
Mm.
It was very free. And that's because you surrender yourself over to all the homework that you've done, all the work that you've done, all the preparation, and only let yourself be bounded by that which binds you lawfully. The line endings, the iambic pentameter, the line endings, and all the things that are inherent in speaking verse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't lose that either. So it was a very strong technique, coupled with a very strong intention. And add to that all the preparation that you did. That amounted to pulling it all together. It amounted to a very free performance you just did here with this. It was very free. That's where we want to be all the time. Once you've done the work, so you have to earn your freedom. Chance and dash. You have to earn it, and that means, okay, I got to take the copy of Joanne's sonnet and follow along. My. I hope I don't learn anything. But anyway, Joe.
Yes.
Very good. It was really living, breathing. It all sounded so simple. Nothing seemed too complex for your mind. And see, that's where, I think that's really the key, is that the text cannot be bigger than you. You have to really expand your mind to understand Shakespeare's. Can't be afraid of it. Oh, this is too complex, and no, it isn't, really. You can do it. If you just know where the clues are, that will help you do it beyond being able to describe the experience, because what you gave me was this sonnet. And the thought contained in this sonnet was completely clear to me. So that alone, right? That's where we want to be. All right, so let's go on.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.